Cane Universe, Joe Robaina here. Today I want to talk to you about the art of sobrevivencia. What is it? Who is it best to? Who does it attract? How do you learn it? Because there's, if we want to learn it in person, my understanding is we got to go down to Miami. That's true because it's the only place that we offer it. We offer it in immersion training, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But you do have an annual membership, and we're getting a lot of questions about that because you can learn it right in the comfort of wherever you are. And so we've been sharing reels and video clips, and there's a growing interest, and we're getting a lot of questions, and understandably so. It's such a dynamic and unique art that attracts individuals. That's what I'm going to try to bring clarity to here today. But I agree that it's a very timely art, especially for today's world. The word sobrevivencia translates, Spanish word that translates into survival, and it was developed by Maestro Eduardo Ruiz on the island of Cuba under political oppression and everything that he had to go through there. So this is what we refer to as an art from the trenches. This is not just theory or a philosophy, right? So when people say, oh, I don't know whether that would work or wouldn't work, yeah. So this is an individual who had to go through mental, physical stress, and I mean combative. He knows what it's like to get cut, for instance. That's why he's so, when the topic of knife fighting comes up and everything else, he takes it very serious because he's been through those experiences. I'm just giving it as an example. But also mental and even spiritual, what he refers to as spiritual oppression. And so the topics are broad, but he take the word survival in its broadest sense. And let me explain what I mean by that. Most who follow us come to us, for instance, self-protection is a big deal. I always ask, were you attacked this past week physically? Did somebody assault you? How about this past month? What about many, if not most watching? I've never, thankfully, been through that kind of an experience. But are you plagued by injuries, aches and pains? Do you have health challenges? Are you under stress? Have you been through traumatic experiences in your life? Who hasn't? Because the longer you've lived, the more experiences you've had, and the more layers that are covering the core of that onion. And those of you that, if you're 40, I would say those most that are attracted to it, as far as the age goes, is 40 and over. Even though you can, if you're younger and you're coming to this, like Maestro Ruiz says, hey, it makes sense. You're going to have a huge head start. He told me early on, you're going to benefit because you have a young family. You're going to benefit from this tremendously. He told me this many years ago. And as time went by, I understood what he meant by that. But it's usually individuals that are attracted to this who are at a point in life that they have nothing to prove to anybody. They're not necessarily in that competitive spirit where I have to, show my skills. Just quite the contrary. That's what SV is about. You win not by bringing attention to yourself or being in the limelight, but by escaping and how can I avoid this and I get out of here unscathed like a ninja. That's why I termed him, I gave him the nickname, the Cuban Ninja. Or if you look at the logo itself, those two eyes in here, right? That's for him because he's the Cuban Ninja. And part of that is he knows how to turn anything into an improvisational tool for self-protection. And it's really interesting the way that he does that. But that's the individual that tends to be most attracted to it. Also, an individual who prefers peaceful conflict resolution. It has a strong emphasis on that. It has a strong emphasis on avoidance. If you're somebody who is attracted to violence and you don't care about restoring harmony, and SV is very much about protecting yourself and restoring harmony by doing the minimal amount of damage. And that is not just a philosophy. That philosophy is represented in the physical application. Okay, physically, as far as application goes, it is a tool. The cane is the main tool, but anything becomes a tool because it's a movement-based art and has a lot to do with this. But also, this teaches the empty hand. That's congruent with ACSD. A lot of differences, a lot more differences then there are a lot more similarities than there are differences between ACSD and SV. People ask me all the time, what's the difference? Well, the way they were put together under their circumstances, right? I developed an American art over here where I wasn't going anywhere near the things that he was going to. I had, you know, the best woods, I had great materials here. My thing was just, I wanted to come down to the truth in combat with something like this. I made some observations. I was blessed to have some crazy students who would sit there with me and take this and attack, and you know, that's very different than being in an environment where you're being oppressed and it's more so out of necessity and you don't have access to this. That's where that whole idea, that's why Maestro Ruiz can show up today to an immersion with a folder cane, and you do the things that he does, and where the emphasis then is placed on the training. So the way to learn this, yes, you can come down to the immersions here. Those are 4-day trainings that we hold in the winter, always in February. The upcoming one in the fall in September is September 24th through the 27th. He will be the theme for this one is flow, and both he and I will be demonstrating that. But flow, fluidity and movement, fluidity up here. Living with ease, that's Sobrevivencia has that energy about it, that flavor about it, the healing component of it. And you can do that, and always keep an eye on the participation, because on the number of participants, because we always limit it. The ratio is no more than 6 caners to 1 floor instructor. I will typically have 3 or 4 floor instructors, and then Maestro and I will lead it from the platform. But that's for your best experience. The other way to do this, and it's just a great way, is that we brought this now online, and you have an annual membership that for the value, I mean, the value is over the top. For less than $1 a day, all these topics are yours on video, and they're all categorized and easy to index in a private Facebook group. And also on the first Tuesday of the month, although that can change, it's always going to be on a Tuesday, we have our annual Zoom, our monthly Zoom meeting session with Maestro Ruiz and myself, where we present certain topics, and then also Q&A. And I'll give you an example. So this one now in June, one of our caners had a situation. He brought up the question. He had called over law enforcement for an incident that he had in his home, and he was carrying a cane that had a lot of work done on the shaft, a couple of sets of grips, and it caught the law enforcement officer's attention, and he questioned him about it, and how do you respond to that? And Maestro Ruiz gave a very unique perspective on that. He gave obviously his view on canes, but not just that, your attitude when you're carrying your cane, and if there are certain fears or certain concerns, or you will project that. And he gave a very interesting account of that. But I'm just giving you an example of some of the topics that a lot of times you don't hear about, but that actually take place. Maestro's very good at taking the principles and then always backing it up with an actual story, something he's been through. And 7 decades of life, he's experienced some things, some that no human being should have to go through, but that's the reality, and that's how we got here. It's a blessing that he has given us his blessing and said, hey, and chosen ACSD, and trusted us with bringing this to you. That annual membership is the way to do it. So if you have questions on that, give us a call. We're at 800-289-8188. Let's have a conversation before you jump into it. But if you know enough about it, you've been hearing about it, you know what it's all about, I'm telling you, you can't beat it. The value that you get and the unique opportunity to learn it directly and interact directly with the founder. It's the only place in the world you can do that. But look at the description below, and it's the annual discount offers a 15%, the annual membership, a 15% discount, and you'll have access to it right away. And that's it. We love talking to you, so go ahead and give us a call or send us a message. But I appreciate your time and attention. Keep caning and stay safe.